Hi, my name is Maggie Ward, and the most important theory that I found in my BYOD, which stands for Bring Your Own Device in the Classroom, is that I found a great website on K12 Blueprint on www.k12blueprint.com, and it really had some great research on how BYOD can actually be implemented. And that was my main concern throughout this research, is I understand that BYOD is very cost effective when it comes to parents actually supplying the devices in the classroom so that students can use. And it will work if the students can bring their device to and from school. And this research that I also found by Kathleen Norris and Elliot Soloway, it talked about the I Learn, We Learn, and that is kind of the direction that we are taking in the classrooms, that it's very student directed. It's where teachers just more the facilitator, and the BYOD does allow that to happen when it comes to students bringing in their devices, because the immediacy is there and they can use their curriculum to look up other things or create documents or images, and so the sky's the limit with that. My concern is that, one, how is it going to be implemented? Two, there needs to be a purpose. I mean, are these students just playing on their tablets for games? I mean, what is the purpose of these BYODs? And the BYOD is not only happening in the classroom, it's happening in the workplace as well. And I found another article by Marjorie Winston called To BYOD, that it talked about having these the employees' phones available during training purposes, and having an app for their business that they can easily access throughout the day. The only thing is that there is also okay, what happens if they're fired? Are they going to have all this content for the business? And there's a lot of challenges that I'm finding with BYOD. But I did like going back to my article in K12 Blueprint. There is 9 steps for implementing the BYOD in the classroom. And the first step is to engage the community. You have to have buy-in from nearly everybody. You have to have buy-in from parents, students, staff, business leaders, people in the district. Otherwise, BYOD it's not going to work. There was also a school called Oak Hills that really have given some great examples on how to implement this, because they have been successful with BYOD. Another thing is to have a parent-teacher night when they listed 2 to 3 specific technology goals for the district that people had to adhere by. Developing a team of assistant principals, teachers, students, and the core team, principals, parents, and then having additional support with your technology specialist. Developing a infrastructure. So this Oak Hills people went through Cisco as their whole district infrastructure. So they would find tablets on that would be they had tablets and all the requirements that the students had to have on their smartphones or their tablets or the Androids or their laptops, so that they can make sure that it was compatible with a lot of their infrastructure. And they also really had to be compliant with the Children's Internet Protection Act, which is super important. A lot of the same software needed to. They used a cloud-based program where they developed a website that was a one-stop shop. So it didn't really matter which device that the students technically had, but they had to pull from this cloud-based program. So that eliminated a lot of the compliances with different software and hardware that frankly could be a problem, because the Macs and Windows, there's different setups and there's different programs out there for word processing and imaging. And so I thought that was a great idea, because that I foresaw that as a problem. Another one was to develop an acceptable use policy. Oak Hills put up signs for when it was acceptable for BYOD. One thing I noticed was the BYOD was actually wasn't allowed in the bathroom, and to try to eliminate a lot of the cyberbullying that can go on, which really is hard to do with the classroom anyway. So the cyberbullying, I think, is still a challenge. Just outlining appropriate behavior, being respectful when it came to to the devices, signing on, signing off, knowing when to turn off, I think is most people's problem. So there was just a lot, and there was consequences for the violations and their supervision, and there are terms and agreements that parents have to and children have to adhere to. So if they were caught being acceptable or cyberbullying, they faced the consequences, and whether that meant expulsion or suspension, that I guess clearly was up to the administrators. Step 7 was building a curriculum. That was probably my most important thing out of all the steps, is the purpose. What is the purpose behind using the BYODs? Is it that you just have a website for them to go on for reading? Or is it the fact that you have a report and that's a research report? But that's not only the basis for a lot of schools, especially when it came to the primary grades. That's what I was thinking about is, okay, well, I can have physical books and learning how to have students have book awareness, but also having the tablet as like an eStoria so they can have that more engagement. But the still purpose of having a physical book in front of you, I think, is imperative. You can tell a lot about a child just having a book upside down in their book readiness. So I think there is still a lot of challenges for the BYOD. I really do think that the curriculum needs to be developed and the purpose needs to be there. And I think finding a lot of the articles and actually talking to a lot of people with BYOD is that still is a challenge for people, because there's a school district in Colorado that actually do have BYOD, but they have been using it just for kids to just get on games and websites. And I think that's great if they're educational, but I feel like that's more of a downtime. I don't feel like that's the sole purpose, the purposeful use of BYOD. And the last step is definitely ongoing professional development. Teachers are going to have to know how to use all these devices. They're going to have to know how to use a Mac laptop. They're going to have to know how to use a Windows laptop, a smartphone. I mean, I think that whole gray area of a teacher's comfortableness with technology and the various types of devices is definitely a huge consideration. I like the idea, and I can understand where it's cost effective and students are familiar with their own devices. I just really feel like that it needs a valid curriculum, and there is a lot of challenges that we need to iron out before we're expected for all our students and the community to implement this. I would love to go to Oak Hills, wherever in Cincinnati, Ohio, to see how they implement this. That would be the best experience for me. But a quote that I took away from this particular subject was, mobile devices are part of the fabric of children's lives today. They are here to stay. And that was by Michael Levine. And he also said, it's no longer a question of whether we should use these devices to support learning, but how and when to use them. And I think in the older grades, especially middle school and high school, we're not going to get away from using their devices. But in order to come together and knowing a purposeful way that they can use their devices in the classroom, I think is a great idea. We just need to iron out the kinks. Thank you.